Yeah, totally, totally. How do we sound, Miss MJ?
You sound nice and clear.
Nice and clear.
Yeah. Is mine good? I know I don't have as fancy microphones as you have.
No, no, no. You sound perfectly well.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So give me 1 second. Let me double check if we are streaming right now to the right channels. Yeah, I think we should be good. We are. Yep, totally. All right, awesome. Just double check. 1 second, guys. All right, so now we guys are live. We have MJ on the call. MJ,
Hello,
hello, hello.
everyone out there.
Welcome, welcome to our Saturday's morning coffee. And MJ, you've been with us like several times, right? In
Yes.
our mock interviews and resume reviews, I believe.
Mhm.
Tell us your story. You messaged me couple days ago that you have some excited news.
Yes. So I landed my first application developer position. I'm really thrilled about it. It's I thought maybe when I first started this journey, it might take a few steps to get to the exact kind of job I wanted, maybe jumping around from different companies, but I was very lucky. I landed a job at exactly the company that I was hoping to find myself at, the exact kind of work.
Awesome, awesome. Can you tell us, MJ, your journey? First of all, like your background.
Yeah.
How did you get into development? What did you do before that job? Yeah, just tell us about yourself. You know our favorite question.
So my career started in television. I jumped into production, and I very early started being put in charge of technical stuff. I always like to say it started almost as a joke. I was the youngest in the office, and they said, "Young people know tech. You take it on." And I always said yes, and I really liked it. And then when the pandemic hit and everybody started working from home in larger quantities, I just took it on more, and I started realizing I like tech more than I like production. And I decided to really push myself and see how well I could do. And I jumped into a boot camp. It took about 6 months to complete it. I completed it in November of last year. And then I was lucky enough to jump into a bit of a crazy job market, as we all know. So it was a journey. But it was really great. I got to lean on my old career, gave me a lot of experience in networking. And so I had to learn the specifics of tech, but I got to rely on those skills that I had, the soft skills. And I really suggest everybody always do that. Whatever skills you come with from a previous career, bring it in with you and lean on them and see how they can help you. And so I first got connected with you guys through there was the event at Chow Now, which was excellent for me. It was my first in-person event, and getting to meet people in person, it's just different. You get to walk around and talk with people and learn one-on-one. Some people had years, decades in tech. Some people were just like me, and it was really nice to meet people. I met someone there who connected me with a open source, just like some stuff I could work on, and that was really great. And then I started doing your interview workshops, the resume. The interview was really great because right now with the job market, it's a little tricky to land interviews. You don't want to come in not knowing what you're doing. So it was, I had resources for behavioral, but the technical interviews were really, it was really great to have some practice speaking about my projects and knowing, like learning what kind of stuff employers would be interested in those projects. So thanks to that experience, I started changing kind of how I prepared for interviews, because now I knew what I needed, and it paid off. The process for the interview for the current job that I landed, it took 5 interviews, and one of them was doing a presentation on a project that I had done, which is something that in the interview I did with you guys asked about my projects, and I felt much more confident being like, okay, I knew this was a question coming, so I had it. And then of course the classic algorithms and a few other ones, and they liked me enough to bring me on the team.
That is awesome. Can you tell, before you landed this job, how many in you said you had the 5 interviews within this specific company, am I right?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
But how many interviews did you fail, or you went through before actually getting the last one?
It's funny. I don't think this is at all normal, but I didn't have too many like technical interviews before. I had done a few like general meetings with some HR folks, but like they didn't have a specific position open. So I think I had like 3 or 4 generals where the HR like, we like you, keep in touch, but we don't have anything right now. And which was always a little rough when you get all ready for your interview, only be told like, well, you're nice, but we'll talk to you later. And then, but there was like for months, there was not too much action just because of the current job market. And then I got this one and one other interview with another company that just happened to happen at the same time. So that one was supposed to be 3 interviews. I ended up cutting it short because I took this job instead of completing that interview process.
That's awesome. So basically, oh, you said months for looking, right? How many months it took you?
5 months.
5 months.
Yeah.
Okay. But still, within 5 months, you had this, that, so that interview process with 5 interviews was basically one of the first, right?
Yeah. It was
Wow.
actually the first interview with them was my first interview I had really done for a real position in tech.
And I think when we spoke, MJ, when you did the mock interview, like, I'm not surprised. And this is the key that people miss, right? There's obviously, you have to ramp up on the technical, and there's a lot of things, people see as the success. Always say that they don't see all the effort that you put in, all the times you didn't get a call, all the times you didn't get any calls, but you kept going and chipping away at it. And that final key is like, yeah, now you have you've taken your time, you've ramped up on the hard skills. You're doing networking, which is just chipping away, which is not showing any progress. You're not going to have something tangible to show, but you're networking, you're out there, you're practicing your interviewing skill. And the last one is really, people forget, is like, you have to practice for interviews, you have to prepare. They'll see like, oh well, MJ is natural. No, she may not have gotten to technical interviews, but you've been in many interviews, and you've like refined that, and you could, like, I could see that right away. So I'm not surprised, but I just love that, that when it comes through, and it's that kind of thing, right?
Right.
It's really that kind of thing that people don't see. They see the success, they don't see all the effort and the work and the years, or months or weeks that were put into like specific nuances of that offer.
Totally. And actually, MJ, you've been participated as an anonymous candidate, right?
Yes.
Don't you mind if we'll post it as as an example? Like, actually, we should have done this before, because you did pretty well in the anonymous mock interview. I remember that it was back then, but Adil's audio is low.
My audio is low.
Uh,
I
let
just
me,
need to be closer to the mic.
yeah, let me.
At least. technical
MJ,
difficulties.
how can you hear us? Do you hear us well?
Adil's audio is a little lower, but I can hear you both perfectly well.
Okay, maybe just speaking directly to mic.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So what I was trying to say that MJ, he was going through. I mean, the ROI, return of investment, like for you, it was awesome. Even 5 months, but you didn't fail that much interviews, which is great, to be honest, which is great. Um, and also, can you tell please about the how did you keep up with your skills within those 5 months of your searching? Did you were you working on some ongoing projects? Like, how did you keep up with your skills? Because you went through the boot camp previously, right?
Yes, yes. So I like to do a coding challenge about at least one a day, some days more. Just because I knew that was such a big factor, I really wanted to always make sure I was kept up on those. I I kept working on some of my boot camp projects. There were a few that, you only have so much time to complete a project in class, and you just know it could go a little farther if you put some more hours into it. So I liked updating all of those. I kept in touch with some friends from boot camp, and we're working on a project right now. We're still working on it. It's just fun to keep in touch with them and get some coding done. And I joined the open source. It's a charity base. They do a lot of stuff with the local government and charities. And that's really fun because it's a wide group of people, and it's a lot of learning how to work with a big group that I didn't know as well. So I tried to keep myself very busy. I also take a few courses on Udemy when something new interested me, I saw come up. So I try to always have lots of things going on, especially when during that 5 months where I just told myself, if I keep working on these skills, at some point I'm sure it's gonna pay off. And it did.
Definitely.
I think that's like, if anybody is listening in, those are like some excellent tips. Obviously, like, shared some of that during the anonymous mock interview. But this is the key. You don't keep trying. You just don't keep trying different things that aren't working. Like, I love the plug to the open source. I tell people all the time. But I'll be honest, not a lot of people go through it. So MJ, kudos to you for
Thank you.
stepping up and stepping in.
Definitely, I see the approach of MJ that you got. It's definitely a lot different from many other candidates who went through the boot camp. So I see the two difference. The one approach is that MJ, right, is doing. So you passed the boot camp, but the learning process is not stopped.
No.
Wasn't stopped there, right?
Yeah.
You kept going with your projects, and you kept going with practicing, right? And employers, they see that. They see, oh, she 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 didn't stop there. She still keep going, right? And another approach that I also see that people stop on their boot camp or stop their learning process, and that's it. They start applying, but like, uh, when did you like? What was your last project? The last project was like, oh, it was 5 months ago when I stopped my boot camp, right? And
I mean, I always say, and it's a lifelong thing for engineers, right? You don't get any point where you stop learning. And people who stop learning are whether markets, even like when market is good, people will struggle, right? Just keep MJ, like, this is a really good example, and just keep it going. I see it all the time, like, from people, like, they'll be in the industry for 2 year, 3 year, 5 years, and then they're like, you know what, that's it, I'm done. I'm not gonna I have enough skills, and I'm not gonna learn anything, and I'm not gonna grow. And I'm um kind of an example of any is like when I when people reach out to you and me all the time, right?
Yeah.
Just even before we started doing like podcasts and all that, people would reach out to us all the time, and there would be like, there's some magic. Like they would, right, MJ? Like
Mhm.
maybe you met some of those people when you were here at Chow Now. There's some people, some magic. Like, give me a magical resume where I get applications. Give me a magical video that I can see and ramp up on a skill. But it's like,
Give me the right
it's
answers.
50%. Yeah, it's 50% knowing some of these things is 50%, but the other 50% is putting in the effort.
Yeah. And I can't speak more highly of networking. What you guys do, your events. I can definitely say 5 months ago, I wasn't as good at telling my story. I wasn't as good as talking tech. I wasn't as good at understanding the market and going to events with other developers. I went to probably like 5 career fairs. Most of them online. They're all over. And even if like nothing direct came out of those, it was practicing telling my story, and also like seeing what people are looking for. What do certain companies want, and if there's a company you really like and maybe they don't have a job opening, maybe see, well, what skills do they look for when they have openings, and maybe you want to try Python for a little bit, or Java, or like, so whatever you didn't learn. So yeah, there's so much to learn. I feel like I'm still just at the start, because I have a whole career ahead of me to learn more.
You're definitely in the start, so welcome to development jobs. Can you tell a little bit about your hiring processes? You mentioned before 5 rounds of interview you had. Can you share like what kind of interviews they were, what kind of questions you've been asked? Like, what was the most difficult one? What is did you have technical like challenges, kind of these things?
Yeah.
You don't need to go in deeply in specific, but like, just give a picture.
Yeah. They split it up well in a way that I felt like I had a good chance to kind of, they always let me know what the interview would be so I could prepare myself for each one. The first one was pretty general. It was a lot of hearing what I was doing in the boot camp, what brought me into tech, like just getting kind of my background. The next one was completely focused on one of my projects that I got to choose which one to talk about. So they said, come kind of give a presentation on the project and we'll ask questions on it. For that one, they didn't say to do this, but I tried to really cater it to how does this project connect to the work they're doing, so that they could see how my skills will translate into their work. And then it was the coding challenge. They did it, I'll say, straight on HackerRank. And they didn't give the level, but I would guess they were 2 easy ones. They didn't trick me. It was pretty straightforward. And I was really lucky. I saw both of them, honestly, on the first time I hit run within the time frame. And that was because I had worked, like studied so hard. I was trying to do medium. So I was like, oh, easy ones, let's go. And then the next 2 were with hiring managers and the people I would work day to day with. So they wanted to see if I was a good fit. They really wanted to know, for those 2, they really want to know what questions I had. They really wanted to find a good fit. So they wanted me to be asking questions. And it was funny because I always come prepared for questions to ask people, but after 5 interviews, it's easy to feel like, oh my gosh, how do I ask more questions? But I try to come prepared with questions specific. They would let me know who I was interviewing with, so I could look them up on LinkedIn. I could ask about, from your perspective, how specifically, how do you like how your company approaches things? I tried to be very specific to them and what questions I could ask them. And they seemed really impressed by that even after 5 interviews, I still had questions. And I would say that's the secret to that, is you can, maybe you don't have like a bunch of questions for 5 interviews, but you can always ask an individual person their unique perspective on the company, which was really great. They definitely were very interested on just, at the top of most people's resume in tech, they have all the technology they've done. They would ask about those and did I learn this in the boot camp, or did I choose to learn this on my own? Did I how did I learn? How did I, what aspects of it did I focus on? And they definitely, I would suggest putting as much stuff up there as you can, like try to cater it to the company, but at least the company I was at seems they work with a lot of clients. So there's a lot of different technology they use, and they want to know what all you can do. They let me talk when I was talking about my project. They said, get nerdy, go deep. What did you do? Give us they want to go really deep into the code and know that what it's doing and why you made choices to use this technology over that technology, whatever you can give. And they actually, I leaned a little bit because it was a project that I started in the boot camp and then grew. I was able to talk about how I was trying to please a client, even if the client's my teacher. I could speak to that and then say, but here's also where I saw it could grow more after that. So yeah, they were very focused on my specific experience and what I brought to tech, what I knew and what I used it for.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think underestimated really like how much interviewers are looking for, like coachability and drive, how driven somebody is like intrinsically. So a couple of things you touched on was very insightful. Something I say all the time, like, and I get, I kind of encourage you, if I'm interviewing somebody and at the end they have no questions, like I'm encouraging them, like have questions, show that curiosity. You're able to show your research as well. Like it's still time. Just because their questions are finished doesn't mean there isn't time to be able to connect with the interviewers. And you're also interviewing the company, right? Go and be very through this. And the other one is like that drive, right? How driven people are. You're able to demonstrate that by recent examples. This touches on what Evgeny was talking about earlier too.
Yeah, definitely. Like with the questioning, with your questions, they still evaluating your expertise. Like, are you how deep you know your subject and how curious you are about the company, right? And you hit this ground. But MJ, I heard that you've done pretty well with coding exercises. That's awesome. That's great. What was the hardest part during that interview? Like, what gave you a hard time? Well, if there were.
By far, just somebody watching you. It's amazing how your brain can, like, just that little stress, like things that, doing it on your own in a quiet room, you would have been like, no problem, I got this. Like all of a sudden you're like, oh, how do I get the keys out of an object, or, like whatever it is, just like your mind just is a little more aware. I was lucky that the job I wanted least gave me a coding challenge before the one that I wanted the most. So I got a little practice, not ideal situation, but I got a little practice of doing it in front of somebody there. What I learned and I wish I had done was like, just call your buddies, say, hey, Saturday afternoon, can you give me a coding interview or, watch me do an algorithm and I'll watch you do an algorithm, just so you can get used to saying it. I'm very comfortable speaking. So I had that on my side in terms of talking to the interview as I was going. But when you're trying to speak and like think through a challenge, it can be, when you're not used to that, it's just a little more tricky. So yeah, I would say, like, master your algorithms, but practice it in front of people. It's just so important.
MJ, can I ask you a question? Did
Yeah.
you participate? Did you go through the interview with the same frame, with the same picture that you are showing up today?
Yes.
That's perfect. I mean, I was thinking that you was specifically prepared for this interview today, but look at you. You have awesome, perfect. I mean, it says a lot, right? The preparation, it says that you care. And nowadays it's rare, you know. I you believe me or not, but I saw candidates with experience, with good experience, who were way more, I mean, who were less prepared like you.
Oh,
And the picture starts from the beginning. You hit the zoom
yeah.
camera on, right? That I just that's impressive. It doesn't.
Shows what it shows about you, MJ, and what other people can take inspiration from. It shows self-awareness.
Yep.
It shows like how not just, hey, I'm here, I'm here showed up for interview, but you're thinking about how is somebody perceiving me, and it starts going, you start from the beginning, but then it happens throughout the interview process, and it just becomes just practicing that just becomes that. It shows of just a lot of self-awareness is how the interviewer is perceiving you and how you can make their life easier, not being in dark room or
Yeah.
Yeah.
One time, I'll just like a short story. I had an interview with a person for actually he was experienced like maybe 8 years of experience developer. Um, but he was in the camera in a noisy background, and the angle of camera was so weird. Like he was very close to the camera, like this, and on the angle, not directly like you speaking, MJ, but like I was looking at his ears basically, right? Like and since that interview was like a recruiter with a candidate, I told him like, bro, like I I like your background, but the appearance, you should, let's improve your appearance. And I would love to help you out. You know what? He didn't do anything. He
Oh,
appeared on the interview, and the impression wasn't good. The impression wasn't good.
it's a very forgiving industry.
Yeah.
I know, MJ, you're just starting, but you've met a lot of people. It's a very, very forgiving industry. But how do you go on a Zoom meeting and have people see your ear the whole time?
It's yeah, it's just weird, like it's just weird. So it matters. But as Adil says, it's forgiving. Like your skill is more important rather than appearance, but still it counts. Still it counts. Um, another MJ, we missed this part because we running this podcast today outside, and when you were talking in the beginning, the helicopter was
oh
above us.
no.
and I missed this part. What did you do before the boot camp? Like what is your background in the past? What kind of occupation you did?
It's a television. I worked in a little bit in production, a little bit in writing. Maybe that's why I'm very
Now
thoughtful
I see.
behind
Now
me.
I connecting the dots. Yes.
No, I don't think we shared this in an honest interview. The previous company I worked for, almost a decade, fantastic time, was Entertainment Partners, and that company
Huh.
also part of that company was also central casting. I focused on the software side of things as far as accounting and payroll. But yeah, like production, like that's I've it's a whole other crazy thing that's happening there. I know all the payroll and accounting side of things, but what was some of that experience that translated well? Like, I mean, you talked about the soft skills and other things.
Yeah.
Anything there that was like something that you felt like stood out in the interview?
For interviews, I feel like I had pitched some TV shows around. So I'm comfortable talking with people. So like being just, that was really helpful to be able to rely on, like, how do I kind of engage an audience? How do I tell us, even tell a story in an interview? You know, how do I do that? So that was very, very helpful. Again, those soft skills. Something that I tried to really hit on that I don't know that people outside the industry would appreciate so much is, like, you're kind of a consultant when you work in TV. You jump into a project, you're trying to make something for a studio. And so you jump in, you're a little scrappy, you bring the skills that they need, and then you deliver a product that, you know, you hope they like. And it's especially in post-production, it's very iterative, which is very software. So the project, like the experience of working in a project is something I come with, and something when I was looking at jobs, I really leaned on, like, I like iterative, I like project, I know how to jump into something I've never done before and be like, I'll figure it out. You know, like I come with enough skills that I can hit the ground running, but if there's something we got to learn, you know, we're going to learn it and we're going to go. And I think it's kind of the attitude, again, like the scrappiness, we're all a team working on this, but also the ownership and being able to take something and, like, this is my thing that I'm going to work on for the whole team. I think it was a lot of that. In terms of hard skills, it's funny, the last thing I did in TV actually was doing some accounting work. And so I might have used some of the software you built.
So who was what software were you using?
I was using a Smart Accounting, which
Smart
was
Accounting.
EP.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, that's EP, entertainment.
Yeah. So, very funny.
I love everybody there. So maybe offline you can tell me if you had any feedback, but
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you right now, one of my favorite things is there's a little error that will come up if you don't enter in the right information, and it comes up like a software error. And at first I was like, back before I was in software, I was like, I don't know what to do with this. And then I'm just curious as a person. So I started Googling stuff, and I was realizing it was noticing missing fields, and it was trying to give you feedback and all that stuff. And kind of getting to that was part of what brought me into tech, where I was like, oh, this is a whole, you know, it's a whole interesting thing. How is this software working? I feel like doing some accounting work translates to software in a funny way, just because, like, I like to think of, like, what data goes where to, like, tie everything together. So yeah, that's a funny tie over.
World is so small, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about like just people using entertainment accounting software. Maybe like 20,000 people use it a year in the US, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
And then in between that, like, I mean, Smart Accounting Entertainment Partners has a big share of the market. So that's unsurprising that it ends up, but you meet somebody something you worked on that was very, very niche, and you meet somebody that they worked on it and got some joy and get their work done. That's what I also feel like you have to connect with that message when you want to be in software engineering, whether you're in product development or you're in engineering operation or engineering services like DevOps, being able to connect with what you are building. Like, obviously the tech part is also important, but being able to connect with the sort of mission of your company, sort of understanding your users is also important. And it gives you so much joy. You get so much satisfaction when you take that out of your life, right? When you don't, because not having purpose, like with what you're doing, not having purpose, right, is also is something you're going to miss, and you're not going to be able to get as much out of a career in software engineering when you don't connect with your customers, or you don't see how you are impacting your customers positively.
Yeah, definitely. MJ, tell us about your new job. Like, what are you gonna do? What kind of technologies gonna be involved?
Yeah. So I was very hopeful I had early on, like, seen a like early career program type thing where, like, they do a little training, but like then keep you on the company. Not one of the companies where like they do some training and then like outsource you and then all that, but like the company trains you first. So this is a consulting company. They liked me because of not just my hard skills, but my soft skills. I'm going to be very much interacting with clients, but also I'm going to be developing. Chiefly, I'm developing, but they like people who can put in front of clients. And the first 3 months, they're going to have some training, a little bit of business, but like a lot of technical as well. And they take they're very open to anyone who knows anything, but I believe they're going to really have us be working in as Java. I think it depends a little project to project. They have a lot of clients, and they're cloud native. So they're varying with AWS right now. And they do a lot of back end, like setting up big, digital platforms for these companies that they can then rely on and use for long term. So the first 3 months, I'm going to have that training. And then the next 9 months, they have kind of a mentorship program focused on the new developers really growing. And then after that, most people come out as a senior developer. And I'm really thrilled. And that's why like I really targeted this company was first, again, my soft skills and my hard skills coming together. And then like that mentorship that I know at this point in my career, I'm going to just really be able to take advantage of and hopefully really grow in.
Very few companies doing that
Yeah.
well. And I mean, just corporate America in general, right? Beginning, entry-level jobs require like 2 years of experience. I mean, it's broken.
It's broken.
Totally broken. And so I'm really glad to hear about companies out there who are doing it well. Hopefully they're leaders from other companies and just leaders within our industry who can see that and take inspiration, as opposed to just like, hey, we just need people with experience, but how are people going to get experience? No, we don't. Doesn't matter to us. You did a really funny, I don't know if you've seen it, MJ, but Benny did a really funny short about that yesterday. So it just got me thinking about that. And I felt a little attack match on the Patagonia jacket. Like,
Yeah, check this out. I started doing the short videos, like, and uploading them in YouTube and Instagram, just for fun. But yeah, I'm very glad that you got this company that is investing in the newbies and the people who are entering this field. But I can clearly see why they're hiring you. That's a no-brainer, right? Even MJ, when we had the mock interview with you at that session, I remember it was 3 candidates, I believe so. And Adil and I, we were chatting about it, and Adil mentioned that I have no doubts that the first candidate, and I remember you've been I believe.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
He was the first candidate. The first candidate, she will be doing well. The matter of the time, like when obviously industry is right now is not collapsing, but challenging.
Yeah. I feel like it's a little better, but
sorry, MJ, go ahead.
I was going to say, I feel like it's gotten a little better in recent months, but it's not, at least I've heard like a year ago, it was very different.
A year ago, I'll tell you, it was very different.
Yeah.
It was different that way that I couldn't find candidates for several of my clients.
Wow.
And they were paying pretty good dollar. But like the salaries at that time, they were boosting like crazy.
So one really cool, interesting plug here is that you have a mock interview planned for later this week. You wanna plug that in here for
Totally.
people, like, it was something similar MJ took part of. Maybe we can share the link. You want to?
Absolutely. So the next Thursday, which is gonna be 25th, May 25th, we're gonna have the mock interview, another round. We'll have two directors of engineering. All of them, they are, one is in East Coast, and another director will be here in West Coast. Two different, they work in two different companies. Yeah, we'll do the round of mock interviews like the same way how we did with you, MJ, back then. And please join and encourage all of you guys to, it's free, first of all. Yeah. Still keep going this, join this. It should be, get prepared. If you guys want to participate, do the same things that MJ did. Prepare your, tell me about yourself, tell me about your last project.
How's the format this time? Are you gonna ask for volunteers at the time, or they can reach out to you ahead of time? Are you still looking for?
We should, yeah, actually we have a list of like the list of people who want to be on the interview, but again, join to crushinginterview.com, to our platform, send there your blank out resume. So we want to keep you still anonymous. Yeah.
The goal is to help. I mean,
Yeah.
goal is to help people. Like I'm really super glad you came in today, MJ, because and shared the story. And this is all like all your advice is gold. So anybody's looking, like this
Totally.
is exactly what but it also like completes like the journey. Because a lot of times, like this is why I do this. Get a lot of this. You deserve this, MJ. So I'm really glad it came. But it's just if I played 1% in that, I'm I'm really happy to do that. But that's the goal. And when we can connect that journey, like people just might just join the anonymous interview and not see the other part of it, the success that comes after the hard work. It's beautiful, and it's an opportunity for other people. NJ, also, if you know somebody like yourself who's interested, who might get something out of it, send them there on Thursday. And we have one next month. Like we're doing this.
Yeah,
I mean, you're doing this every month. So.
We're doing this every month. For sure. I have a teaser, another teaser, that MJ not the only one person who got the job. So we're gonna have another very similar interview like what we are doing with MJ. Another person reached me out and she told me also, which is I'm very happy. Women in tech. We need more women in tech. Yeah. She mentioned that she also got an offer. She will start soon. Yeah. So it's exciting news in this time, especially, right? So that brings a hope that even you are new, you will still able to get a job. It's definitely a lot of things not depends only on you, but everything which is in your control. I think you should use it. You should keep going. MJ, you came to the meetup in Channel. Actually, this is where we doing the podcast today. Yeah.
Yeah, it's MJ knows it's a great space. I'm glad for our team here, Chris and Christine, allowing us to have a podcast here and having the meetups. We did other tech meetups too. We did we also did, I was telling you last time, we did a podcast here a couple of weeks ago, Snacky Tune. So it's a great space. Thank you for letting them. Thank you to Chow Now for letting us borrow this space, hang out here. The other thing is, I think people know from last week, there's construction. So there's a scheduled power outage right now. So we're doing it outside. So hopefully the audio and everything work out. We had to do it outside. Just the lighting inside wouldn't work out. And we had scheduled power outage last week as well, which I didn't know about. So, I'm really thankful for this space. I love coming here and I love doing this here. And yeah, hopefully the technical difficulties being outdoor without power right now, hopefully.
Yeah. And another thing about meetups, another teaser, I'm planning to do the next meetups, the live event. It will be also in Orange County maybe at the same place like we did last time. So We're planning for June, I believe 15th, June 15th. Yeah.
I may not be able to attend, but I can guarantee, like the last time we were there, beautiful space, really good conversations, the people who showed up, relationships we built. Like it's a good chance for people who are experienced, people who are new, just to get there and get together with people, network,
Totally.
and learn stuff too, and learn stuff about other people, and learn something about the industry.
Yeah. Yeah. MJ, and my last question would be for you. Like, what would be your advice for all people who are coming through the same way that you did, right? Who are looking in the job. Maybe some of them, they have kind of desperation.
Mhm.
Like, what would be your advice at this moment?
I would really say networking is your friend. And these guys are gonna help you do it. Go to the events, go to the interview, like the mock interviews, go like reach out there. You know, jobs don't just like show up. People give people jobs. So connect with people. And it's amazing how, again, I met somebody at Chow Now who connected me with the open source, who connected me like it, like the network just grows. And be curious. Always practice your skills, but practice them with curiosity. What more can you do? And people love to see that spark in other people. So network and work hard.
Totally, totally. So guys, as MJ said, just coming into our meetups, coming into our events, we'll take care of you.
They will.
Yeah.
Come to the mock interviews, mess up there so you don't mess up in the interview.
Definitely. Fail in mock interviews, get
Yeah.
embarrassed in mock interviews rather than fail the real one, right? It's better to have practice. For sure. For sure. All right, guys. I think that was a great talk for today's. And let's keep going. I'll see you guys on next Thursday coming in to our mock interview event with a two director of engineering who will be hosting the mock interviews along with me. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. MJ, thank you very much for your time, for your sharing your inspiration. I think people need this, especially nowadays. And you're always welcome to participate in our show, our mock interviews, and yeah, always opening the door for you. Like it's,
If you're in Culver City, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys. You guys do amazing work. Everybody watching, stick with them. They do they teach well.
Making us blush.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. And I'll stop the 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 meeting and I'll see you next time. Have a
Yeah.
good day.